What is worship? That's always a relevant question for all people everywhere, because the vision that Scripture gives us is that all people will worship something. They will give their lives over to something, almost like a sacrifice. Well, what is actually worship? There's some misconceptions about that in our own day. I think one of the predominant ways that people tend to think about worship is that they immediately unite it to music in a worship service. So you go to a worship service, there may be other things said, there may be other things you participate in, but the worship is the music, when people are singing, when there's a band playing, something along those lines. Other people may think of it a little bit more broadly, but they may include in it basically anything that happens during that hour or hour and 15 minutes that gets called the worship service. There could be announcements, there could be skits, there could be a bunch of videos shown. So the question is, what is worship? Does it come down to our preferences? Does it come down to our feelings, the things that are evoked within us emotionally? Is that when we're actually worship and everything else is kind of faking it? Psalm 96 verse 8, for instance, says, "Ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name." Ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name. And then it talks about bringing an offering, coming into His courts. So ascribing to the Lord the glory due His name is one of my go-to verses for saying this is a solid, simple definition for what worship is. It is bringing to the Lord what He is due, what He is owed. What is He owed? Everything. He's made all things. He's made us. We are to give our entire life over to Him. That's why Jesus summarizes the commandments as loving the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving your neighbor as yourself. Our worship is especially that first commandment, to give our entire selves over to God, or again what Psalm 96 verse 8 says, which is to ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name. Now, that should have our hearts and our emotions united to it. But there's something objective that this psalm is speaking about in the worship of God. It is to open our mouths and open our hearts and give to the Lord everything that is due to Him. That's the foundational element of worship, is giving to God what He is due.